Wait, was the garden a cult? It's been a year since our TV show aired exploring if we were a commune or a cult. And it's been a year since I left the garden, giving me the introspective time to determine if maybe I wasn't a cult. Today, we're revisiting my experiences from 3 years inside this community. There's a lot to unpack here, but you deserve the truth. And to get there, we're using the BITE model by Dr. Stephen Hassan, the ultimate framework for spotting cult-like behavior based on, well, behavior, information, thought, and emotional control. This is something the TV show never really did. And I'll score each subcategory to see where the garden really stands. And by the end of this video, we'll have our answer. But look, the BITE model is so intense. To keep things moving, we've enlisted AI to hit the highlights. We gotta respect our time, right? Number 1, behavior control. This focuses on controlling the environment and the actions of members. Subcategory. Restrictions on personal freedom, where there's strict rules around where you could live, work, and who you could interact with. Did we restrict people's freedom? Kind of. You could live wherever was open, unless you were a dog. Yep, dog owners got their own structure, and if you were a family, you could get the spot right next to the nice toilet. And after a year in one structure, you had to move on because, attachment issues. No one got their own house, and nor could you build your own. Every structure was shared, so basically you're like nomading around the land. And work, there was a 25-hour work suggestion. You could do anything you want within reason, but if you wanted to build a structure, well, you had to get council approval. Like, come on, do you actually know how to fucking build? Or are we about to just all live in some structure that's about to crumble around us? And hey, watch this video in the past that I made to really show why this is important. And paid work? Well, some members were not too thrilled about you working outside the community for money. It was like, hey, why not focus your energy here? Which I think is fair enough. Look, no one wants to come back from a full day work at a fast food restaurant, to come to the garden and shovel compost. Well, maybe me. But, the thing is, it just takes a lot of hard work to live off-grid with others. Just live off-grid in general. And social stuff, we were free to talk to anyone in town, but, the consensus was don't act a fool in Macon County. And it wasn't strict. It was more like a strong suggestion. But technically, there were restrictions on personal freedom. So I'm giving this one true. Next up is monitoring of behavior. Were you closely monitored by the group leaders or other members? So basically, is Big Brother watching you? Well, at the garden, Big Brother is more like a mildly distracted babysitter who, is just trying to make sure you don't wander off or eat too much dirt. Honestly, the only ones that were getting monitored were the kids. And for the adults, we're pretty much free range. Left to roam and figure things out by our own. No one was touting on us or keeping tabs. Even the 25-hour work suggestion, no one had a clue. Anyway, I'm giving this one a false. Punishment and reward. Did the group use punishment or reward to enforce compliance? Well, let's just say if you needed a place to crash and you followed the community's vibe, well, you had a roof over your head. And I guess that's a pretty big reward for some. But look, people could raise issues at council meetings and we could make changes together. But also, if you were a problem, you wouldn't be able to stay. So, it's true. There were punishments and rewards for staying in line. This one's true. Category 2, information control. This includes limiting access to information and promoting group-specific information. Distorting information. Did the group control the information you received? Perhaps distorting facts or censoring outside sources? Nah. Our library didn't have, the get-rich-quick book. But, if you wanted to go out to town and buy it and bring it back, no problem. We had the access to the information we needed. I don't think there was any censorship there. Welcome to the garden, where the only thing that we twist is the truth about our compost. False. Spying. Were members encouraged to report on each other? Nah, there was no secret report card system at the garden. We would give newcomers a little vibe check on day 1. Show them around, make sure they weren't tripping or, totally unhinged. And if any issues came up, we would just chat about it. Maybe mention it to someone who's been there for a while. But full on like reporting? Definitely not. False. Discouragement of critical thinking. Were you discouraged from questioning or doubting the group's teachings? Kinda. New people would come to the garden with these grand ideas, how to change everything, make it perfect, and they've been tried a million times and they generally always fail. So yeah, the old timers would, shut it down pretty fast. But I think it was less about blocking free thought and more like being there, done that. But you could still bring stuff up at council, but some ideas would get blocked before they even had a chance. So sure, there was some discouragement. I guess it's true. There's a lot of truths coming in here. I'm kind of thinking we might have been a cult. I don't know. Propaganda use. Did the group use slogans, misinterpret information? Misinterpret information? Misinterpret information. There we go. I got it. Or flood members with group approved content. So did the garden have propaganda? Abso-fucking-lutely. Mostly thanks to eco. We had slogans like compost capitalism, free land for free people. And yeah, they were like epic plays featuring Prophet Fox trying to scam people, only to be saved by Radical Raccoon and his radical radishes. It was pretty lighthearted and not some like heavy brainwashing. And when we went viral on TikTok and got a lot of hate, for one moment we were like, okay, maybe we should start like approving people's posts to make sure it's not too crazy. Mostly because of Rel's jokes of like being around a candle is freaking people out and the internet saying cult. But that plan didn't go anywhere fast, and people get just posting whatever they want anyway. But still, I guess it's true. Section 3, thought control. This element centers around controlling members' beliefs and attitudes. There's no way you can control this attitude. Black and white thinking, where things presented as us vs them, with little room for independent thought. Well, yeah, kinda. A lot of members were not fans of mainstream society, especially with all the environmental damage going on. Plus, the garden was filled with outcasts. Sometimes it felt like we were up against the whole world. So yeah, there definitely was this feeling of us vs them, sometimes. So yeah, this is true. Use of loaded language. Did the group use unique language or terms that were discouraged? Nah. There was no special lingo or, full stopping words or, you couldn't say this or whatever. None of that. This is false. A lot of people in society, though, want me to stop saying fuck. Fuck that. Shame or guilt. Did the group use these emotions to shape behavior and beliefs? Sure, if you get back from town with your big bag of McDonald's walking through the garden, you might get a couple of side eyes, but it was all in good, playful fun. There was no deep guilt trips there. False. Self-censorship. Were you encouraged to block out any doubts or ignore critical thoughts? No. Autonomy was a core value. So everyone was really encouraged to think for themselves and, use their own judgment. False. Section 4. Emotional control. What? This involves manipulating feelings to keep members obedient. Induced fears or phobias. Were you made to feel afraid of leaving or questioning the group? If you call hitting a dab and having a panic attack an induced fear, then sure. But I don't think so. But there were people afraid to leave, and that was the members who were there for a long time because they put all this effort into their gardens and these structures, they don't want it to be trashed. This is false. Emotional highs and lows. This gets worse and worse. Did you experience a cycle of extreme praise followed by criticism to keep you feeling dependent on the group? Oh my gosh, that'd be quite the roller coaster. No. There was no emotional whiplash here. That sounds so exhausting. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if you have to go through that. I shouldn't be laughing, huh? This is false. Dependency creation. Did the group foster a sense of dependency through fear of punishment or rejection? Well, rejection was a big deal. Someone felt rejected, it was often viewed as our fault, especially by the ones who'd been there for a little longer. Then we were being accused from members or ex-members of being a cult. Look, rejection is tough. I'm going through it right now, and it's hard. It's one of these, messy human experiences that makes us lash out and start blaming everyone else. And with an open door policy, there was a lot of visitors and a lot of people that didn't work out. So yeah, a lot of rejection happened and it definitely hurt people. It's a tough ride. But this is about being a part of the group, with the group occult. And no, there wasn't this like much of a fear of rejection if you were part of the group already. So this is false. And that's it. The analysis to me is showing that the garden is leaning more towards a commune than a cult. But what's your opinion? And you can even do this analysis with any of your communities, like where you go to work, your school, or even your family. Because we all have the potential to control, isolate, or manipulate. And stay safe out there. And remember to subscribe.